The rain was loud enough to erase thought. I stood under the awning of a closed pharmacy, water sliding off my jacket in thin, obedient lines when my phone vibrated. Unknown number. I didn't answer. I already knew what voices sounded like when they carried authority. They never hurry. They let the silence work. 3 hours earlier, my wife's voice had done the opposite. Get out of my house. You don't belong here anymore. Not our house, hers. That word had landed harder than the storm. 17 years reduced to a pronoun. I had nodded because nodding costs nothing. I had picked up my coat because dignity is lighter when you carry it alone. I had walked past the family photos without looking because memory is a weapon if you let it be. I was halfway down the driveway when she screamed my name. Not to stop me. To make sure I heard the door lock. Now the phone vibrated again. I answered. Sir, the voice said, calm as a scalpel, we need to ask you a few questions about your stepfather. The storm didn't sound as loud after that. It started with a look. Not anger, not suspicion, certainty. My stepfather sat at our kitchen table that afternoon, hands folded like a man waiting for grace. He didn't look at me when he spoke. He spoke to my wife. About money, about trust, about a night he claimed I hadn't come home. He said my daughter wasn't mine. He said it gently, like a favor. I watched my wife's face change in increments, love cracking into fear, fear settling into resolve. She didn't ask me. She didn't need to. The lie had been dressed too carefully. Dates, receipts, a story rehearsed. So many times it had worn itself smooth. I laughed once. Too soft. Wrong reaction. That was when I knew I'd already lost the room. She screamed. He sighed. The house chose sides. I packed nothing because there was nothing left to take. Denial is loud at first. Then it learns to whisper. I let it whisper while I slept in my car that night. Rain tapping the roof like a patient interrogator. By morning, denial was gone. Only questions remained. I didn't confront anyone. I don't confront storms. I measure them. I requested records, bank statements, school forms I hadn't filled out but bore my name. I ordered a paternity test I didn't need for truth, only for timing. I pulled phone logs from an old backup my stepfather didn't know existed. He had always underestimated my quiet. Patterns emerged. Small transfers, regular, too clean to be accidental. Messages deleted, but not forgotten by the network that carried them. A second address he paid for with cash and arrogance. I kept my voice steady when my wife called once. Just once. To tell me a lawyer would be in touch. I told her I understood. Inside, something aligned. The test results arrived on a Tuesday. I opened them in the parking lot of the courthouse because symmetry matters. 99.9%. My daughter's blood sang back to me. I walked into my stepfather's office instead. He looked surprised, then irritated, then afraid. Those emotions traveled fast on him. I placed the envelope on his desk. Didn't slide it, just set it down. You should have checked your math, I said. His mouth opened, closed. He reached for the paper like it could burn him. I watched his hands shake. That was new. He had always liked control. Lies require it. My phone buzzed while he read. The police. They already had the rest. The embezzlement. The shell accounts. The forged documents he'd used to make me look disposable. I had sent it all that morning, quietly, patiently. Truth works best when it arrives early and stays late. I left him with the evidence and the sound of approaching consequences. When the police called again, I was still under the awning. Your stepfather has been taken into custody, the voice said. We'd like you to come in. I thanked them. I didn't call my wife. She called me. Crying this time. Apologies spilling over each other, tripping in their haste. She said she hadn't known. She said she was scared. She said the house felt empty. I listened. That was my last gift. I know, I said, and meant something she couldn't reach. I didn't go back. Not for clothes. Not for explanations. The house had chosen already, and so had I. Some storms clear the air. Others teach you how to breathe without it. When I walked away, I didn't feel lighter. I felt exact.